I really, I really cannot believe that I'm learning this lesson now at 35 years. And I've, it's just why it's, all right, in general, the lessons are, and the wisdom and the experience is what means the most to me. And I think like we're all learning from what we've experienced. Like how else can it be? Because even when my mom would, like, things that my parents would say, sometimes it just wouldn't stick because I hadn't experienced it. And so it's so crazy because you're living this reality that's based on like your subconscious, your past lives, what your parents showed you, like these things. And like, so like, because it's hit me before of different things, like, either way, I'm seeing this stain on the wall. Either way, I'm very grateful for all the people I've met. I've had some really great friends in this life. Like, when you can walk away and you've took lessons, or you had some of them being beautiful memories. Like, those are the things that I cherish. I'm grateful for that. I'm able to, even if we don't have a lot of opportunity right now, I'm grateful that I have this kid that I'm able to have him with me even when it's hard. And I know that I think that it's more uncommon than I have a concept of, that for a woman to be generous, or to still have a big heart, or I don't know what all the things are, because I try to stay detached. I try to be in observer mode as much as possible and not judge people. So I don't I try not to live my life that way. So I don't play compare and contrast all the time. But I've been taken advantage of more times than I can count. Like, I don't know. I say that I'm trying to like encompass this experience, because I've been in spaces where I felt like there was reciprocity, or that I was like there was value, or like I was respected or whatever. Like, I've been with guys that I felt like was like that. And then I've also had other experiences where I was just treated like a piece of meat, or like a trash, or like an object or whatever. Like, I've had both, but I think because of my grandmother and because my parents, we were like, I don't think it was healthy. It was more of like a sheltered out of fear type of, like, I'm not going to use that word, like a fear-based sheltering from my family. But like, regardless, my mom wouldn't let us stay the night at people's houses until we were a certain age. And like, we didn't live in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids, and we played with each other. And so there wasn't a lot of that until later in my life. And like, I wasn't allowed to date until I was like 16, which I still dated a guy before that. But I was like 13 or 14 or 15. I don't know what age it was. I don't even remember. I was definitely a teenager. And so I think that, in combination with my grandmother really having high standards and I spent extra time with her when I was younger, of what she expected of a woman. And that was my first like experience of like being taught what it means to be a woman and stuff. And that was really my mom didn't really teach that, and my dad didn't screen the guys I was dating and stuff. Like, I didn't have a lot, and they told me crazy things about playing the field and stuff, and like, that's how you should date, and like weird stuff. So plus their relationship wasn't exactly healthy. So it's just, I feel very, very grateful that even though it sucks being like taken for a ride or taken advantage of, like, I want to stay generous. That means more to me, even if it means that I've been screwed over or whatever, or seen as like a joke, because I hope that person realizes that there are still people out here with a big heart. Like, I don't know how, because I've been through so much, especially in the last 5, 6, 7 years of my life has been a lot of trauma. But there was this video of this guy who was saying like one of the hardest things for men, I don't know who the people were, but they had a podcast, and he said one of the hardest things for men is that when you I guess he was calling her a good woman who was like ready to be serious, but he was like, you're used to dating, being around, he said hoes, so I'm just using the words he was using, and that's what you're used to, and so you're terrified of being vulnerable, you're terrified of intimacy, and you know that this woman expects you to like give her your heart, and he's like, so you're putting her in like the back corner because you're like, I might post it, I have to go back and watch it. And all I could think is like, how selfish, like what is wrong with men? Like what in the world? Like how can you just do that to a woman and think it's okay? Like that's the stuff. There's so much. That's just one piece of like a big picture of like how much we need to work on how to relate to each other and how to have these conversations and how to not treat each other like objects, like not treat each other like we're just disposable. And that's why people keep turning cold. Like we have to breach this somehow, where we have enough ability to be open and honest that we're not destroying each other. And I was like, you need to heal, man. Like, and because the girl was even like, yeah, like I get it, that like trying to be understanding. And it's like, that's how women are, because we're naturally understanding. But again, I only know from my experience, maybe there are lots of women, and when women turn cold, they usually become like a Jezebel, because they are just using their sexual energy to get what they want, because they've been scorned, they've been left by all the men, they've been screwed over, but they didn't learn their lessons. So it's like, how can we teach each other and grow and become better communicators so that we're not hurting each other? Like, it's just, I think that this experience was a lot, because this past whatever that I've been on my own was because I've been in such a vulnerable place. I was in such a dark and low place that it's like you invite in negative energies when you're at your lowest. Like it's sad. It's the saddest thing about this world, because those lessons they create scars, and it is what it is, because it makes you. That's why I'm like, I always try to come back to the bigger picture of like, I still kept my guard up enough that this didn't destroy me. But at this point in my life, to have to be dealing with men that are selfish is just like, no, I don't deserve that. Like, just because I'm generous, I don't deserve to deal with people who treat me like a joke or like an option, or like I'm disposable, or like making skits and making fun of my family. Like I'm just supposed to walk around like that's fine. And that's the thing. That's the other part, is that it's like, until you meet that person that shines that mirror and says, no, what you're doing is wrong, you just keep being around people that enable you. So selfish men are destroying the world. Like, y'all's shadow, I mean, it's women too, and anybody who's carrying a Jezebel spirit, it's like, that's the lowest of the low, because we invite that energy, we allow that energy in, and it just completely takes over, and you're just like the kudzu. Let's protect each other's hearts.